New car, who dat? You know what I'm saying? New car, instead of new phone, who dat? New car, who dat? As Derek Carr is visiting the New Orleans Saints today. Two things. First off, Derek Carr has a no trade clause, okay? And what that means is basically Oakland was not allowing him to, well, okay, he has a no trade clause. He can veto anything, Jake, but also Oakland was not allowing him to go visit anybody or start negotiations with anybody until they at least had some sort of trade agreed to, even if the details aren't hammered out, right? So the fact that Derek Carr is in town today means that there is at least some sort of agreement between the Saints and the Raiders of roughly what a trade would look like, right? So already this thing's kind of a little far ahead. Of course, this is the first visit that he's been granted ahead of next week's deadline. On February 15th, if he is still on the Raiders, $40 million of that contract becomes guaranteed. I don't think they're going to want to do that. And yeah, it's kind of like we talked about it a bit yesterday, right? But Dennis Allen drafted Derek Carr back in 2014, started him right away as a rookie. Later he gets fired 4 games into the season, which means that we are kind of witnessing the funniest version of getting the band back together that I've ever seen, as there's not too many reunions like, dude, we got to get all the pieces from that 3-13 squad, right? They got Joe Woods in here, get Derek Carr in here. So I'm saying, get Flynn in here as well, dude. Make it happen. The whole band back together.
You're getting the band back together that plays at the bowling alley and doesn't get paid to play at the bowling alley. They actually ask the bowling alley if they can set up and play in the corner.
Well, they get some Venmos, okay? You have the QR code up there. You know, nobody carries cash anymore. You get some Venmos. Hey, you know, it's enough. It's enough. Derek Carr, well, and also if you're Derek Carr, you don't need money. So even if nobody shows up for the band, it doesn't really matter because you're going to make quite a lot of money. Answer me this, though, Jake, because this is where I think it gets interesting if you're Dennis Allen. Like we said, this feels like a make or break year, right? Like if they're bad again, it doesn't feel like the Saints would stick with Dennis Allen. I mean, maybe they would, you know, they do like to be very hesitant to change, but that would feel a bit crazy. So with that in mind, regardless of how you feel about Derek Carr, do you think you can get a better quarterback than Derek Carr for next year? If Allen's job is on the line, can he find a better quarterback this offseason than Derek Carr?
I mean, objectively, Andy Dalton had better numbers.
Yeah, he did have better
on a
numbers.
per-game basis because Andy didn't start the season. And again, this is not championing for Andy Dalton, just laying it out.
I mean, I think
so. Is this a better option?
I think if you look at the last few years, I'm comfortable saying that Derek Carr is a better option than Andy Dalton. But to your point, I mean, I can't really sit here and build it off of a statistical foundation from this last season. I mean, as bad as the Saints were last year, the Raiders' culture and team seemed even more broken. I mean, that's the team that went to the playoffs 2 years ago under Rich Bisaccia. They go hire McDaniel, and they were absolutely awful. After adding Devontae Adams, which doesn't make any sense in any sort of world whatsoever. So, okay, so maybe Andy Dalton, but outside of that, I mean.
Well, the point is you're going to give up assets if you trade, like regardless of what those things are, you're going to give up something to bring Derek Carr in.
I just can't imagine it's going to be much when the Raiders have to make a trade, right? Like, do you want to let Derek Carr go for nothing, or do you want to get something? And the Saints know that. Like the Saints, and there's not exactly a rabid market out there. Like the Saints, to your point, Jake, the Saints aren't exactly bidding with anyone over this right now. It doesn't seem like any other team even offered the Raiders enough to let Derek Carr go on a visit quite yet. So I would hope it wouldn't be anything extreme, like not a top 3 round pick or anything like that, but I guess only time will tell. And look, I'm with you, man. Drafting Hendon Hooker is more sexy, more exciting. And even, but like the thing is, even if he's good, he's going to be better than Derek Carr next year. On that, I doubt it. And again, that is the thing about Dennis Allen right now is his job's kind of on the line. Now, the counter to this would be that Mickey Loomis's job is not on the line and will never be on the line. And so he can afford to take a more future-oriented approach. But even then, it's like, okay, well, what does that do kind of for the culture and the relationship between the coaching staff and the front office? So I don't know. It feels like Dennis Allen feels as if he has to find a way to get Derek Carr to NOLA. That sounds crazy, but I think that's true. I think Dennis Allen probably feels like these Saints need Derek Carr next season.
you're going to have veteran quarterbacks out there. Like Lamar's probably out of your price range. We understand that.
Awesome.
But you do have a Geno Smith. You do have Daniel Jones. You do have Jimmy G. You have a Jacoby Brissett. So that's some of the names that are out there that you wouldn't have to give up anything. Like, of those names outside of Lamar, would you sign any of those quarterbacks?
Well, yeah, but I mean, Geno's definitely going to re-sign with Seattle, right? Like, I mean, they love each other.
I would think so.
I don't know what's going to happen with Daniel Jones and the Giants. I think that's pretty interesting. I mean, I think he would definitely be a better option than Derek Carr right now, even if he may be more expensive. But like, he's the same price. Yeah, I'd take Daniel Jones. But, I mean, what did the Giants end up doing with him? Not so sure. I would want Derek Carr over Jacoby Brissett. I feel confident in saying that. Jacoby Brissett's like a lesser version of Andy Dalton. He's that bridge, right? Derek Carr is also a pseudo bridge, but one that, he's made the playoffs a couple times, gives you an opportunity to, I think, be better than what you were last year. Jimmy G, I'm not really sold on Jimmy G. I mean, he was good in New England, I suppose, and he was good in San Francisco, but you're talking about two of the best environments to be good at. Like, at least if nothing else, I've seen Derek Carr do really well at times in awful situations, in an awful culture. Like, I don't know what happens to Jimmy G if he gets to a culture that's not pristine, like the ones that he's been in. So, sure, if you get Daniel Jones, hell yeah. Otherwise, I just don't think, and Lamar, dude. But I don't think the Saints really have an option. And I think it's kind of hard to sell some of those quarterbacks on wanting to come here for the same reasons that we talked about. It'd be kind of hard to sell an OC on wanting to come here. Also
have Mike White, Cooper Rush, Taylor Heineke out there as free agents.
Okay, Heineke's a little interesting, certainly. I mean, left hand up. It seems like the Commanders really are they gonna? So they're just letting Heineke walk. They're not even bringing him back on like. I would find that to be a bit surprising. I thought the Commanders are kind of into Heineke until they figure out their long-term answer. But no, the other guys do nothing for me over Derek Carr. Again, I don't really care about the money. The market is the market. It is what it is. I doubt you'll be overcommitted too long from like a year's perspective, right? I don't think you're going to sign like a 6-year deal or anything like that. So if you want to go a couple of expensive years as you try to figure this thing out, I think Derek Carr actually is a pretty solid option in that regard. We'll see. But either way, I think if Dennis Allen wants to maximize his chances of the best quarterback that he can get next season, it probably is the man that's in New Orleans today. Boys from NOLA, the 504 boys, if y'all had to take a major free agent visit out to eat, where are you taking him?
Drago's, probably.
Okay.
Oysters.
Drago's. What about you, Danny?
Desi Vegas Steakhouse.
There's some restaurant, I don't know if it was Desi, I can't exactly remember. There's some restaurant I was reading about the other day. Maybe it's Antoine's. It's been open since like the 1800s. I think I might go a little Commanders, boys. Take them in like one of the private little jungle-looking rooms up there where you're looking out into the trees, feed them some turtle soup. And then, let the food take care of the rest. What?
Too many tourists.
Well, no, I mean, but that's the thing, though. He is a tourist, right? So,
yeah, but Desi Vegas already has like a lot of professional athletes and coaches that go there, like on the regular.
Okay. Well, look,
and it's close to the facility.
So then maybe you do like a little, because it's gonna be multiple meals. Maybe you do a little bit of both, right? You give him a little local cut and a little maybe a more touristy cut. And also, I'm not talking about Derek Carr eating in the open room at Commanders, right? I can only imagine these secret rooms that Commanders has tucked away on that upper floor over there. Shout out Derek Carr, though. I'm back, Jake. I've convinced myself once again Derek Carr should be the quarterback of the Saints next year. New Carr, who dat? Are you boys in? You boys in for Carr?
I guess so, man. I'm not excited about it, but there might not be a better option.
Damn.
I'll take Carr for the right price.
Okay. Well, yeah. I mean, the right price is going to be about $35 million. So just let go of that. Like, if he's coming, that is what it is.
Can he work with us a little? Can we go to like 25 mil?
Okay. Let's play a little role play scenario. You're up for a job, and people want to pay you $100,000, but I don't know. Somebody's like, hey, but what if I pay you 75? Are you going to take the 100 or the 75?
75.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. Exactly. Sure. Sure. Mario was seriously trying to convince himself in his head that you would take the 75, and you are a liar, sir. There is no way that you would take the 75 over the 100K.
I have no comeback.
Yeah, exactly. So, no, it's 35, 40 mil. Get ready. All right, Derek Carr to the Saints in visiting. We'll see. Coming up next, talk a little LSU football as 36 new faces in Baton Rouge. What's that tweet you just put up there, Danny?
It was a Holden Mayo tweet that I saw.
It says, for the right price, and I mean a TJ Maxx bargain, give me Derek Carr and let's go to the Super Bowl.
Hell yeah.